I set myself a challenge to lose as much fat as possible and transform my body in just 30 days. After relaxing just a bit too much over the festive period, I wasn't very happy with my body. I was actually pretty ashamed to call myself a trainer. I felt like I was being a rubbish role model towards my clients, and I thought no one's going to take me seriously looking like this. But I know when I'm focused and I have pressure on me, I can work really hard. So I made a promise to myself and to my followers on Instagram that I'm going to lose as much fat as possible in 30 days. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I ate, trained, managed setbacks, hunger, and fatigue. And I'll show you the results and let you know if it was all worth it. The goal was simple: lose as much fat as possible in 30 days without tanking my performance in the gym or losing muscle. I started on 2,300 calories, which for me was pretty low, but I knew I was going to have to work hard and be hungry sometimes. I aimed for 180 grams of protein a day to try and keep me full and help me recover from my weight training. The split between carbs and fat, I didn't really track, because by hitting the calorie and protein goal, if I ate more carbs, it would mean I need to eat less fat, and vice versa. And in previous diets I've done before, where I've done high carbs or low carbs, I haven't seen much difference in the results. For weight training, I was going to aim for 4 to 5 sessions a week of 45 minutes, focusing on lifting heavy and increasing the weight when my energy allowed. To help me burn the fat fast enough, I increased my steps to around 12,000 per day, and I also added in cardio. The plan was set: no cheat meals, no shortcuts, just hard work and consistency for the next 30 days. But I knew the hardest part wasn't going to be the workouts. It was going to be sticking to my diet when the hunger and fatigue starts to kick in. The first week was smooth. Weight started coming down fast. I lost 2.8 kilos in 7 days. This is mainly going to be because I was losing the bloat and the water from the Christmas period. My energy was decent, my hunger was manageable, and my motivation was high. But I knew this was just the honeymoon phase and the real challenge was coming soon. Week 2 was a completely different story to week 1. The hunger got real and I started spending most of my days thinking about food.
The last couple of days I've been extremely hungry, especially right now. I'm very, very hungry. I'm just trying to walk a little bit to distract myself from eating until my next meal. So my meals have become smaller and less in fats and carbs. So it's making me really hungry.
I struggled to fall asleep, but when I did fall asleep, I would randomly wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. The poor sleep combined with the hunger meant cravings were starting to become unbearable. One night, I even started pacing up and down the kitchen, eyeing up a pack of rice cakes, deciding whether or not I should go over my calories for the day. But I managed to hold strong and settle for a glass of water instead, because at this point, I was having doubts about how long I could sustain this diet. But I decided to just take it one day at a time and not think too much into the future.
I always like to be a man of my word and do what I promised. So I'm just trying to win one day at a time. And instead of thinking about how much time I have to go left, I just take one day at a time. And I think that will help a lot of people that are trying to cut or trying to do any big goal. Because if you think too far into the future, you start kind of doubting yourself and you're like, oh, can I achieve this? Will I make a difference? Will it actually happen? But if you think one day at a time, can I actually make today a really good day? Then the answer is yes. And
as if the hunger, cravings, and lack of sleep wasn't enough, my weight stopped dropping too. No matter how strict I was, the weight just wouldn't budge for 4 days. But I know this is quite normal on a cut, and this happens to a lot of people, and this is where they give up, because you feel like you're doing all of this suffering and not getting anything out of it. At this point, I felt like saying fuck it, ordering a large pizza, ice cream, and some cookies. But I knew deep down this wasn't the answer. At this point, I had 15 days left, and I knew that if I wanted to see the scale drop, I was going to have to make my calorie deficit more aggressive. But I couldn't handle eating any less because the hunger and the cravings were just so intense. So instead, I increased my walking to 15,000 steps per day, and I increased my calorie burn on my cardio to 500 per session. And this was enough to get the scale moving again. But just as things were going well, I messed up. One evening, I was woken up in the middle of the night with intense hunger. It felt like I just had a shot of coffee and I was wide awake. I just had enough. I was tired, hungry, and out of willpower. I went downstairs and made myself a bowl of granola. And after I finished it, I had another, and then another, until the whole bag was gone. I felt like I lost control and acted like some kind of drug addict. And my drug of choice was sugary granola. The next morning, I was really disappointed in myself. I felt like I had failed and undone all of the progress on my cut.
So I do a physique update, but I need to be honest, messed up my diet last night. Super bad. I was just craving loads of carbs and I couldn't sleep properly, so thought I'd have a refeed, a bit unplanned, but hopefully hasn't messed up my physique too much. And even if I am looking a bit crap, I know in like maybe 2 or 3 days I can pull it back, but here we go.
But I took the time to sit down and reflect what went wrong and why this happened. It was the hunger. It was really getting to me, especially in the evenings. So I decided to change up my diet. During the day, I started eating more high volume foods, focused on fibrous vegetables, salads, and lean sources of protein. The extra food volume will keep my stomach full while saving calories for the evening. By the evening, I'd have about 1,000 calories left, which meant I could have a big dinner. I even had enough calories for dessert, something like some Greek yogurt, frozen berries, and sugar-free jelly. This change allowed me to sleep better at night, improve my energy, meaning I could keep pushing hard again. The last week was the hardest. I was running on fumes. I was working 12-hour days with in-person and online clients, and my own training was starting to feel like a chore. And to top it off, the weight wasn't dropping again.
So I've had quite a lot of anxiety around this cut. I've been working really hard, like I've had an influx of a lot of new clients, which is great. I can never complain, but work's getting super busy. Yesterday I did work 8 to 8, so it's 12 hours. Just felt exhausted in the evening, forced myself to walk. And I just feel like I don't have time to do this cut.
But I wasn't going to give up now because the finish line was in sight. I decided to push through the low energy and wake up an hour earlier each morning to do cardio. And I increased the cardio to 6 sessions of 600 calories. I also increased my steps to 20,000 a day, even though this meant I was going for walks at 10 p.m. when I'd finished work. I would have liked to have lowered my calories further, but my hunger was just too much for me and I didn't want to have another granola episode. On my last day, I was mentally done. I did not want to see another weight or another cardio machine again. I was just hoping that the results were worth all of the effort. My final weight loss was 7.7 kilos, which I was impressed with considering it was only 30 days. So did all of the hunger, suffering and hard work pay off? I'll let you be the judge. Here's what I've learned from this 30-day cut. You're going to experience hunger, cravings, fatigue, setbacks, plateaus, and doubts. And it's all about how you address those mental challenges and try your best to stay on track. And how fast you lose fat depends on how hard you're willing to work. The faster you want to lose fat, the more hunger and fatigue you're going to experience and the more time and effort you're going to have to put into the process. For most people, the level of aggressiveness of this diet was probably too much to sustain and they would be better off doing something a little bit slower. And if you want to learn how to lose fat in a more sustainable way, I've got a free 4-week course that will teach you everything you need to know to lose fat. If you're interested, the link is in the description. So was it worth it? It was very hard, but I enjoyed the challenge. I actually think I would do it again in the future, but I might extend it to 40 or 50 days, so still short, but I can get even better results. Thanks for watching.